Hey guys, I figured I'd do the topic 5 review now so you guys have it for this weekend. So make sure you try it on your own before you go through and watch this. And then if you get stuck on a question or you really need help, then watch through. If this doesn't help all the way, you're still confused, make sure you go and do Khan Academy. And there's also Savas topic review. I know you guys don't love doing it, but if you really want to be prepared for the test, then I would go through and make sure you get that extra practice. Okay. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to write what an absolute value function looks like. Okay, so, y equals the absolute value of x is our parent function, but there's actually a little more to it than that. If we put something here, then it increases our slope. And this is the opposite of x, and this is our y for our vertex. Remember, if we add or subtract something here, it moves our x the opposite of what we think it'll do. If you add to x, it's gonna go to the left where the numbers are smaller. If we subtract from x, it's gonna go to the right where the numbers are bigger. And if we add something at the end, it's gonna make it go up. If we subtract something at the end, it makes it go down. So that actually gives you where the vertex of the equation is going to be. Okay. For this first one, how does the graph of f of x equals the absolute value of x compare with the graph of g of x equals negative 1/2 the absolute value of x? So the only thing they've done is multiply it by negative 1/2. So remember, that's like your slope. So a negative slope is going to make it go down, and 1/2 is going to make it go down slower. So we know it's going to look something like that. So is it a vertical compression or stretch? This is compressing up towards the x-axis. So it's a compression, and it's reflecting over x to make it go down, okay? So it's a vertical compression and reflection over the x-axis. All right, the next one says the graph shows the cost of renting water skis. There's a base fee, and then you pay an additional fee for each additional hour. All it asks for is the base fee. So just like with any other equation, where it hits the y-axis, where it is at when x equals 0 at 0 hours rented, it's $15. So that's your base fee. So it's $15 base fee, and then it adds $5 per hour because each square is going up by 5. So when it asks here, it says for the function in item 2, what is the average rate of change over the interval 2 to 3? So from x of 2 to x of 3, a lot of people want to say it's a slope of 1 because, oh, it's going up 1 over 1. But this box is worth 5. So it's up 5 over 1. So that's a slope of 5. All right, if f of x equals 2 times the absolute value of x, is graphed on a regular coordinate grid, does the graph form an acute, right, or obtuse angle at its vertex? So 2 times the absolute value of x. We have our parent function. Looks something like that. It should be a right angle. If we multiply it by 2, remember it's going to get smaller. It's going to go up faster. So that's going to give me an acute angle. And then if I had something like 1/2, then it would go down. Remember, 1/2 will go down like a lot slower. All right, for number 5, we want to find the vertex of the graph. Tell whether the graph opens upward or downward. And they did this crazy thing here. that negative is in the bracket. So it's still going to open upward. But my HK, remember, use the opposite of this, and then there's nothing at the end. So negative 1.50. The graph of g of x equals 4 times the absolute value of x minus 3 maps a person's path from their house to school and their path from school to a friend's house. So like they're going to their friend's house, but they walk past the school. So here they start at their house, they walk until they get to school, make like a little bell shape. And then they keep going until they get to their friend's house. So the school is located at the vertex. So for this one, we have a slope of 4. There's nothing added to x, so my x is going to be 0. And then there's a minus 3 at the end, so my y is going to be the minus 3. All right, number 7, you're going to work backwards for this. So now they gave you the graph, and you need to figure out how to write this equation from it. Okay, so my vertex is here, and then you need to find what the slope of this is. So if you feel like you're getting the hang of this, stop this video and try it for a second. All right, so I'm going to figure out what I need to plug in for H, what I need to plug in for K, and then find my slope and plug it in for A. My vertex is here at 1, 0. All right, so I put x minus 1, and then you can add the 0, but I mean, it doesn't matter if you don't put it there. Then I just need to find my slope. So this goes up 1 over 2 in both directions. So it's 1/2. Y equals 1/2 the absolute value of x minus 1. If you want to make sure that you did it correctly, maybe then go back and think about, like, if I graphed this, where would I put it? All right, this one was a little annoying, honestly. Taylor charges $15 for the first hour of dog walking and $10 for each additional hour or fraction of an hour. The rates that Lucy charges for X hours of dog walking are modeled with the function shown. So Taylor charges $15 for the first hour and $10 for each additional, including every fraction of an hour. So 2.5 hours, she's going to charge 3 for 3 hours. So 15 plus 10 plus 10. So Taylor is 35. Lucy charges $20 per hour for 0 to 2 hours and $10 per hour for 2 to 4 hours. So for 2.5 hours, you will use this equation, 10x. So Lucy is 10 times 2.5 is $25. Oh, and it asked who charges how much, who charges more and how much. So Taylor charges $10 more than Lucy charges. Drew crosses the county line when he drives home to work. The graph of the function, this is the distance as a function of time, is 50 times the absolute value of t minus 0.5. Shows Drew's distance in miles from the county line after t hours. The domain of the function is 0 x to 1. So 0 is included and 1 is included. The graph shows Drew's entire trip. Over what interval is Drew's distance from the county line decreasing? So he's at home. He's driving to work. This shows his distance from the county line. So this piece here, his distance is decreasing from 0 to 0.5. And when it asks for interval, it's talking about your domain or your x values. And remember, you write that with the x in the middle. It's from 0 to 0.5. And both of those numbers are included. Well, I guess at 0.5, it's neither increasing nor decreasing. It's decreasing from here, and then at 0.5, it stops. In item 9, how many miles does Drew drive to work? So he started at 25 miles away from the county line, 25 miles, and then after he passes the county line and heads to work, it's another 25 miles, so 50 miles total. For the function in item 9, what is the average rate of change over the interval 0.75 to 1? So from here to here. Okay. And again, this is a little tricky because they give you like this weird little piece, but this slope is going up the same amount all through here. This one I did see some people get confused on. So this is 25 miles, right? In half an hour. 25 in half an hour. So if I take 25 and I divide it by 0.5, I get 50. It's increasing, it's going up 50 per hour. 25 and a half hours, 50 in an hour. All right, which function has the same graph as f of x equals 1.5 times the absolute value of x? So on the left-hand side, y equals the opposite of x. And on the right-hand side, y equals x. Right? Because it's like this. So this is y equals x. And this is y equals negative x. That's the worst graph ever, but you understand what I mean. So for x that's less than 0, it should be the negative. (1.5) for x less than 0. And for x greater than or equal to 0, it will be the positive values. All right, the function f of x equals step x is a ceiling step function that is graphed like y equals x. So remember, when it's a ceiling, you take whatever your input is and round it up to get your output. So 5.3 in, you get 6 out. 0.9 in, you get 1 out. And if it was a floor function, then you would just round those down. The graph of an absolute value function, f of x equals a times the absolute value of x plus 7, includes the point negative 120. Okay? So this is not at my origin. Actually, the easiest way to show this would just be to graph it. So let me grab something. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I explained this a little weird to somebody earlier, but okay. This is the worst graph ever. 5, 10. Nope, that doesn't give me enough room. Grab graph paper. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay. Wow, I gotta go way up here for this one. So A, absolute value of x plus 7. I know my vertex, because there's nothing added to x, and then I have a 7 here. So I've got 0, 0, 7, and I also know one other point, negative 120. Oh no, I did explain this fine before. Okay. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. All right, this has to be my origin way down here. And my vertex is at 0, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I have a coordinate at negative 120. So negative 1 all the way up here. So then I also have a coordinate at 120. Because that's what an absolute value function should look like. So another point on the graph is 120. The value of A, that's my slope. Now I can easily see it now that I have a graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 over 1. You can also see that here because it went from 0, 7 to negative 120. So it went up 13. You could even use those 2 points and use slope formula if you wanted. 20 minus 7 over negative 1 minus 0. What is the equation for this function? Again, you guys should have the hang of this by now. Try pausing, see if you can figure it out. All right. Y equals A, x minus h plus k. So my vertex is here at 1, 0. And my slope is up 2 over 1. So y equals 2, x minus 1, and then you don't have to put a 0 there. All right, last problem. Which function has a vertex at negative 2, 8? That negative 2 is the part that's going to trip you up. The 8's going to stay positive. Negative 2 is going to look like the opposite. So this is the one you want. All right, if you were really lost on this, make sure you go back, do some practice on Savas or on Khan. Have a good weekend, guys.